Okay, answer your attendance. Sachin Pujari. Sachin. Abhinandan Shirhatti.
Yes, sir.
Abhinandan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Abhishek Kagwad. Abhishek. Abhishek Kagwad. Right. Akshata Belavi. Akshata. Okay. Anand Kyabani. Anand. Anjum Biradar. Anjum Biradar. Basaraj Gadkari.
Present, sir.
Okay. Basaraj Ainapure. Basaraj Ainapure. Bhagyasri Math. Bhagyasri. Bhakti Bastwadkar. Bhakti. Bharti Hadimani.
Present, sir.
Okay. Chetan Kumar. Chetan Kumar Suldar. It's not there. Deepak Jamdar. Deepak.
Present, sir.
Right.
Present.
Divya Kulkarni. Divya. Gad Pratmesh Shivaji. Gad Pratmesh Shivaji. Jyoti Olekar. Jyoti Olekar. Kiran Ligade. Kiran.
Present, sir. Jyoti.
Okay, right. Kiran Ligade. Kiran. Lakshmikant Kaloji. Lakshmikant. Mantesh Patil.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mole Prem. Mole Prem. Nagesh. 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 Okay. Nandish.
Present, sir.
Okay. Pooja Patil. Pooja Patil. Pramod Kumar. Pramod Kumar Hunshal. Praveen Magdum. Praveen. Priyanka. Priyanka. Sandhya Shirodkar.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Santosh Pujari. Santosh Pujari. Santosh Sonar. Santosh Sonar. Shabaz.
Present, sir.
Okay. Shafia. Shafia. Sridhar. Sridhar. Srushti.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Siddharth. Siddharth.
Present, sir.
Right.
Present, sir.
Right. Siddharth Patil. Siddharth Patil. Supriya.
Present, sir.
Okay. Vandana.
Present,
Vandana.
sir.
Okay. Vasant. Vasant. Vedata. Vedata. Yogesh. Yogesh. Mahesh Dodmani.
Yes, sir.
Mahesh. Okay. Balesh. Balesh. Taik Mohammed.
Yes, sir.
Praveen Rathod.
Yes, sir.
Abhishek.
Yes, sir.
Aishwarya.
Present, sir.
Amanullah. Amanullah. Bandadkar Tanay Mohandas. Bandodkar Tanay Mohandas. Bhavrao. Bhavrao.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Desai Shodhan Ashok. Desai Shodhan
Present,
Ashok. Okay. Right, right. Devanavar Anil Kumar Shekappa. Devanavar Anil Kumar Shekappa. Nand Kumar Patil. Nand Kumar Patil. Pramod Kesti. Pramod Kesti. Rohini Paule. Rohini. Rohit Alwani. Rohit.
Present, sir.
Okay.
Present, sir.
Right. Shashidhar Gaudar. Shashidhar. Sridhar Badiger. Sridhar. Saish. Saish Agarwadekar. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Sir, Abhishek Kakwad, sir.
Roll number?
3, sir.
Okay, I have marked. Anybody else? Right. So we'll continue with the class. Are you able to see the screen, students? Screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right, fine. In the last class, I was explaining few examples. Let us consider one more example here on stack memory. Show stack and stack pointer for the following. Assume the default stack area and register 0 is selected. Here they have given set of instructions. Show stack and stack pointer for the following. That means you have to explain what is the content of stack memory considering the following instructions. For these instructions, assume default stack area. Default stack area is when you turn on the microcontroller, which is the memory location which is selected first. Yes. Which memory location the stack memory points first?
07H.
Which is the first 07H, correct, exactly. 07H is the first memory location of the stack memory when you turn on the microcontroller. Right. So stack pointer will be pointing to, or it will be storing the memory location 07H when you turn on the microcontroller. And when you turn on the microcontroller, which register bank is selected? Which register bank is selected? Register bank 0. Register bank 0 is selected, correct, when you turn on the microcontroller. Move R6, #25H. That means R6 is equal to 25H. The value 25H will be stored in R6 register. Move R1, #12H. The value 12H will be stored in R1 register. Move R4, #0F3H. The value F3H or 0F3H will be stored in R4 register. Here 0 is used before F because if we don't use 0, then the microcontroller will not understand whether it is a hexadecimal alphabet or whether it is a hexadecimal number. In order to make the microcontroller understand that it is a hexadecimal number, we have to use 0 before these hexadecimal characters. Right? If you are using A, B, C, D, E, F as a number, as a digit, then preceding that you have to always use 0. You have to always use 0. Otherwise, the microcontroller will be under confusion whether it is a hexadecimal alphabet or a hexadecimal number, hexadecimal letter or hexadecimal number. In order to clearly make the microcontroller understand that it is a hexadecimal number, we have to use 0 behind the hexadecimal characters. Clear here. Move R4, #0F3H means F3H value will be stored in R4 register. Then I am using the instruction push 6. Push 6, then push 1, then push 4. When I use push 6, what does it mean? I'm pushing the value stored in R6 register onto the stack memory. When I use the instruction push 6, that means whatever value is stored in R6 register, that I am storing in stack memory first, the first memory location of stack. If I see the contents of stack memory, As I told, when you turn on the microcontroller, first memory location stored in stack pointer register, SP register is 07H. Then when you store the first value, here the first value is value stored in R6 register, that is 25H. When you want to store this value into the stack memory, it will be stored in which memory location? In the next memory location. Stack pointer will increment, that is 07 plus 1, 08, and then it will store the value 25 in 08 memory location. That is the value of R6 register. Okay, so now the stack pointer is having the value 08H. Okay, that is the memory location of the first value that we stored onto the stack memory. That means the stack will go on growing upward direction. The stack will grow in the upward direction. If whenever you want to store any value, the concept is it will increment the memory location and then stores the value. If you are reading the value from the stack memory, the concept is it will read the value first and then decrements the memory location. For storing the value onto the stack memory, we are using push instruction. For reading the value from stack memory, we are using the pop instruction. Clear? Then next instruction, push 1. When you use the instruction push 1, when this instruction gets executed, push 1 means value stored in R1 register. So 1 stands for R1 register. Okay. Then push 4. 4 stands for R4 register, like that. So push 1 means whatever is the value stored in R1 register, that will be stored in stack memory. Now, how it will be stored in stack memory? What is the SP register value? 08. Now, if it wants to store the value stored in R1 register, that is 12H into stack memory, it has to increment this memory location, that is 08 plus 1, 09, and then store the value 12 in 09 memory location. Okay, so this is how it stores the next value, that is value stored in R1 register. Then next value, move R4 comma hash 0F3H. We have moved F3 in R4. Push 4. Push 4 means 4 stands for R4 register. In short, we write it as push 4. It is nothing but R4 register. So the value stored in R4 register is F3H. This value now it has to be stored in stack memory. So in which memory location it stores this value? F3H. It will increment the pointer, that is 09 plus 1, 0A, and then it will store the value F3H. This value F3H, which is in R4 register, it will store in the next memory location. It will increment the stack pointer register. Stack pointer 09 plus 1, 0A. 9 plus 1 is 0A, not 10. Okay, it is in hexadecimal memory location. Right? So it is 0A. In 0A memory location, the value F3H of R1 register, R4 register will be stored. Clear here? So this is how for every push instruction, if it wants to store the value into the stack memory, it will increment the memory location first, and then it will store the value of that register onto the particular memory location of stack memory. Clear here, students? So you can see here the stack is growing upward direction. 08, then plus 1, 09, then 09 plus 1, 08. It is growing in the upward direction. So this is how we are executing the push instruction for storing the values onto the stack memory. Next, show the contents of the registers after execution of following instructions. Previously, which instructions we used? Here we have used push instructions. Push 6, push 1, push 4. Here, next I am using pop instruction. Pop 3, pop 5, pop 2. If it is push instruction, it will push the value onto the stack memory. If it is pop instruction, it will read the value stored onto that stack memory location. Right? Now, what is the first instruction I am executing? Pop 3. So 3 stands for R3 register. So what will happen here when I use the instruction pop 3? Can anybody tell me? When I use the instruction pop 3, what is happening here? Yes. Pop 3 means it will read the value from the stack memory location. Which value among these values? Right? So when we have stored all the values, what values we have got? F3, 12, 25. Now, if it has to read the value from stack memory, pop means it has to read the value from stack memory location. So which value among these 3 values it will read first? Yes. Which values it will read? Which value it will read first? Whether it will read F3 or 12 or 25. Anyone?
F3.
F3, correct. It will read F3 first, right? It will read the topmost value. When pushing the data, it will push the value, all the values, right? When reading the value, I give the example of placing the books on the table. Is it not? So when you place the books on the table one above the another, when you want to remove the book, which book will remove first? Topmost book. Topmost book you will remove first, then next book, and so on. Right? So like this, while reading the value from the stack memory, it is a last in first out memory, LIFO memory. So it will read the topmost value first. F3 is the topmost value. This value will be stored in which register? It will be stored in R3 register, POP3. 3 stands for R3 register. In R3 register, the value F3 will be stored. Then next, POP5. POP5 means next value. That is, it will read the value F3 and then decrements the memory location. The concept is, while reading the value, it will read the value first and then decrements the memory location. Okay. So F3 it will read, then 0A minus 1, 09. Okay. So next, when we use the instruction POP5, POP5 means the next value, that is 12, will be stored in R5 register. So the value 12 will be stored in R5 register. Okay. Then next, which is the next instruction, POP2. POP2 means, so after it reads the value 12, it will decrement the memory location, 09 minus 1, 08. Right? It will decrement the memory location. Then it has to read the value stored in that 08 memory location. The value stored in that 08 memory location is 25. So it will read this value 25 in which register? Whichever is the current register. Okay, present register is R2, POP2. So in the R2 register, the value 25 will be stored. So like this is how the POP instructions are executed to read the value from the stack memory location. The concept of push and pop is clear here, students, to everyone. Push and pop, anybody not understood this concept? Clear, right? Push and pop is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. Okay, fine. We'll move on to the next example. Which register bank is used if we alter RS0 and RS1 of the program status word register by the following two instructions? We are using these two instructions, and when we execute these two instructions, when the microcontroller executes these two instructions, which register bank is selected? Right? For selecting the register bank, we are using RS1 and RS0 bit of program status word register. Note that program status word is a 8-bit register, and RS1 and RS0 are one among those two bits, okay, of PSW register. So this RS1 and RS0 bit, when we store the bits in these bits RS1 and RS0, they either select bank 0 or bank 1 or register bank 2 or register bank 3. One among these register banks are selected when we store the bits in RS1 and RS0 bits of the PSW register. Then I use the instruction set bit PSW.3. SETB means set bit. Set the bit. Set means make the bit 1. Clear means make the bit 0. Set bit PSW.3. So it is the third bit. Third bit is PSW.3, that is RS0. Okay. Then fourth bit is PSW.4, that is RS1. Third bit is RS0. Fourth bit of the PSW register is RS1. So PSW.4 set bit PSW.3, PSW.3 equal to 1. I am making the bit 1, setting the bit. Then set bit PSW.4, I am setting the bit, I am making the bit 1, that is particular bit PSW.4, fourth bit of PSW register, I am making it 1. Both the bits are 1. So if both the bits are 1, which register bank should be selected? Yes. Which register bank should be selected if both the bits are 1?
Set bit 3.
Which bank should be selected? Register bank. There are 4 register banks, correct? Register bank 0, register bank 1, register bank 2, register bank 3. There are 4 register banks. Among these 4 register banks, which register bank is selected when both the bits are high, when both the bits are 1?
3, sir.
Bank 3 is selected. How? Because 1 means decimal 3. If a PSW.4 is 0, PSW.3 is 1. Then 01 means decimal 1. Register bank 1 is selected. If both are 0, register bank 0 is selected. If PSW.4 is 1, PSW.3 is 0. Then 10. 10 means decimal 2. Register bank 2 is selected, like that. So both are high here. As it is 1 means it is decimal 3. Register bank 3 will be selected. So this is how the register bank is selected when these two instructions, set bit PSW.3 and set bit PSW.4 are executed. Okay. Next question. In above question, what RAM locations are used for register R0 to R7, which is the memory location if the register bank 3 is selected. Indirectly, they are asking here, in above question, what RAM locations are used for register R0 to R7? Which register bank is used here? Register bank 3 is used. Register bank 3 is selected. If it is register bank 3, then the RAM locations will be 182 to 1FH, last 8 bits. Right? RAM memory is organized into 3 blocks. One is working registers, then second block is bit addressable memory, then last block, third block is the general purpose memory, working registers, bit addressable memory, then general purpose memory. So in the working registers, the last block, register bank 3, is from memory location 18H to 1FH. So register bank 3, that is RAM locations 18H to 1FH will be selected, because here in the previous example, register bank 3 is selected. The memory locations for register bank 3, that is R0 to R7 registers of register bank 3, memory locations is 18H to 1FH. Hence, these memory locations will be selected or used. Take down your notebook and calculate this example, students. Calculate the time required for 2 machine cycle instruction. They are given the machine cycle. They are given the C value. C value is 2 for both the values given here, 12 megahertz and 11.0592 megahertz. So if C is 2, you have to calculate the time taken to execute the instruction. Calculate the time required for 2 machine cycle instruction if it is 12 megahertz. What is this frequency, students? 12 megahertz and 11.0592 megahertz. Which frequency it is? Which frequency it is?
Crystal frequency.
Crystal frequency. It is crystal frequency. Yes. So it is crystal frequency is given here. First one crystal frequency is 12 megahertz and second crystal frequency is 11.0592 megahertz. So if these are the values given, C value is 2 for both, then calculate the time taken to execute the instruction. Take down your notebooks and calculate, students. What is the formula we have? Time taken for executing the instruction is C into 12 divided by crystal frequency. C into 12 divided by crystal frequency. Then if this is the formula, find the time taken to execute the instruction. Okay. Calculate and tell me the values. Take your notebooks, all of you, calculate and tell me.
Two microsecond.
2 microseconds for which one? First one or second one?
First one.
First one.
Well,
First one is 2 microseconds. Very good. What about second one? Second one.
2.17.
2.17 micro.
17 microseconds. Exactly. Right. So you'll getting 2.17 microseconds for the second one. Okay. So everybody got here? Everybody got here? Yes. Nand Kumar got the answer. Nand Kumar Patil. Nand Kumar. Nand Kumar is here.
No, sir. Absent, sir.
Absent. Deepak Jamdar got the answer. Deepak. Deepak Jamdar. Deepak got the answer here. Jyoti
Yes, sir.
got the answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Mantesh
हाँ sir, got sir.
got the answer. Good.
Yes sir.
Okay, fine. So first answer is 2 microseconds. Second one is 2.17 microsecond. That is C into 12. So C is 2 into 12 divided by crystal frequency is 12 megahertz. 12 into 10 raised to 6 for first one. So if you solve this, it will come out to 2 microsecond. Similarly, for the second one, 2 into 12, right, divided by crystal frequency is 11.0592 megahertz, which is given. If you solve this, it will come out to 2.17 microseconds. Okay. Next, we'll go on to next topic, students. That is criteria for choosing a microcontroller. Now, tell me, students, we have studied all the basic fundamentals of microcontroller. That is memory organization, right? Pin description, pin details, right? we have studied the fundamentals of microcontroller. Now, which are the factors we should consider for selecting the microcontroller or choosing the microcontroller? Now, if you want to select any microcontroller, right? If you want to work on any microcontroller chip, IC, so on what factors do you decide that you want this particular IC, or you go for that particular purchasing that particular IC? Based on what factors? Based on
On RAM.
RAM and ROM memory. Exactly. Based on RAM and ROM
RAM.
memory. Yes, size.
RAM
Yes.
on RAM.
Based on power consumption. Correct. Exactly. So if the power consumption is less, you choose that microcontroller IC. Is it not? If power consumption is more, then you don't go for that particular microcontroller IC. So whichever microcontroller IC has a lower power consumption, you go for buying that particular microcontroller IC. Any other factor? Any other factor?
Input and output timer chip will be.
Yes, pins, number of pins, right? So if the number of pins are more, then power consumption will also be more. If number of pins are less, power consumption will also be less. So based on the number of pins, okay, now based on the number of pins that particular IC has got, you will be choosing that particular chip or the microcontroller IC. Okay. Any other factor? Any other factor? Yes. Any other factor? Speed. What about the speed? Speed is also important, is it not? Because if it takes more time to calculate, right? If it takes more time to perform the job, right? Then we don't select that. Is it not? Whichever IC it is taking lesser time to do the same job, we usually choose that particular microcontroller IC. Is it not? If it is taking more time, speed will be more. Sorry, less. Speed will be less. If it is taking less time, speed will be more. It is inversely proportional. Speed is inversely proportional to time delay. Lesser the time delay, lesser the time taken, more will be the speed. More the time taken, lesser will be the speed. So speed is also one of the most important factor in choosing the microcontroller. Packaging, that's what I told. Number of pins, then power consumption, based on how much power it is consuming or dissipating, amount of RAM and ROM on chip, how much amount of RAM and ROM size is available on the chip. If it is having more memory, we go for that particular IC. If it is having lesser memory, then we usually don't prefer that. Number of IO pins and timer on chip. If the number of timers are more in that particular IC, or number of IO pins are more, then we usually go for that particular IC. How easy to upgrade to higher performance or lower power consumption versions? So based on how easy it is to convert the given IC to higher performance IC, right? If we are modifying certain blocks of microcontroller IC, given microcontroller IC, if you are modifying a little bit and if you are increasing its performance, then we go for that particular microcontroller IC. If we can change a little bit in that given microcontroller IC so that its performance is increased or its power consumption is brought down, then we choose such microcontroller IC. Okay. Cost per unit. Cost is also equally important, right? If it is having all these factors, cost is very high, whether we go for buying that IC. Yes. If it is having all these positive factors and if it is having more cost, whether we go for that.
No.
Right? No, we don't go. Is it not? Because the cost should also be reasonable. It should have all the factors, right? All the factors, and then cost should also be reasonable. We don't say it should be lesser, but it should be reasonable value. Correct? So such ICs we choose. Then availability of software development tools such as compilers, assemblers, and debuggers. These tools should be along with the microcontroller chip, so that we can debug the chip. We can remove the errors in the program. Whatever program we have written, if we are able to remove the errors, then we choose that IC. Then it should be along with the compilers, so that it translates high level language into machine level language, or as if it is an assembly level language, it is converting the high level language to assembly level language using the assembler, right? So these tools should be available along with the microcontroller hardware chip. Wide availability and reliable sources of microcontroller. The microcontroller should be available with the plenty number of companies. Okay, so there are various companies which manufacture microcontroller ICs. For example, Intel is there, Atmel, Dallas Semiconductor, AMD, Philips. These are the various companies which manufacture microcontroller chips or the microcontroller ICs. So if the number of companies manufacturing microcontroller ICs are more, then the availability is also easy. We can easily access. The chips are easily available, right? So that is one of the important criteria. Then next, students will be studying about the addressing modes. What are addressing mode? First we have to define what is the addressing mode, and then we'll go into the details of the instruction set later. Okay, so addressing mode, before going into that, let us study few points. Introduction to addressing modes. As there are sentences in words, similarly we have instructions in programs. So in a sentence is made up of number of words. Similarly, a program is made up of number of instructions. 8051 instruction has 8-bit opcodes. Opcode is operational code. Opcode full form is operational code. So this every instruction has a certain machine code. High level language we can understand. We will be using high level language or the assembly level language. We can understand. Right? When I use the instruction move a comma hash 25h, I can understand that 25h value will be moved into a register, but the microcontroller will not understand this. Microcontroller will not understand this language. It has its own language, which is called as the machine level language. So this instruction move a comma hash 25h has got its own machine code, which the microcontroller can interpret, which the microcontroller can understand. That particular machine code is called as the opcode or the operational code. Opcode or the operational code. Okay. For example, if for move a comma hash 25h, the opcode may be say F6, right? So when the F6 value is stored in particular memory location, then when it is performing fetch, decode, and execution operation, the microcontroller can understand that F6 means it is moving the value 25h into a register, like this. So these are called as the opcodes. This opcode is of 8-bit. In 8051 microcontroller, every instruction has got 8-bit opcode. 8-bit. The opcode is made up of 8 bits. That means how many combinations we can make out of 8-bit, students? Combinations. If I start with all zeros, all the 8 bits are zeros, then I will make LSB bit 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. So how many combinations are possible? From 0 up till how many combinations? If there are 8 bits, how do you find the combinations? 2 raised to 8, is it not? If there are 8, if there are say only 3 bits, 0, 0, 0, 2, 1, 1, 1, how many combinations you can make? How many combinations you can make?
8.
3 raised to 8.
Combinations. 2 raised to 3, exactly. 8 combinations, is it not? So like that, if there are 8 bits, you can make 2 raised to 8 combinations, 256 combinations, or we have 256 instructions here. Based on every combination, there are every instructions, and as there are 256 combinations, we have 256 instructions. Out of these 256 instructions, only 255 instructions are implemented. That means they are well defined. And one instruction is undefined. Okay, according to the microcontroller architecture, there are 255 instructions and one instruction is undefined. It is not defined. Then out of these 255 instructions, there are 139 1-byte instructions. 1-byte instruction means the instruction takes only 1 byte to store in the memory location. I gave just now the example of move a comma hash 25h. Okay, suppose say it is taking only 1 byte. Its opcode is F6. Okay, so F6 is for the instruction move a comma hash 25h. What is the value used here? 25h. So it takes 2 bytes here. 2 bytes. F6 is the machine code for move a comma hash any value. Move a comma hash any value. Its opcode is 25 F6. Then what is the value we have used in the instruction? 25. Move a comma hash 25h. That is stored in the next memory location. Suppose if the program is starting from memory location 0000h, right? In 0000h, F6 is stored. That is first byte, operational code, opcode of that instruction. Then in next memory location 0001, in next memory location of the memory, then next byte is stored. That is 25. The value of that instruction is stored. This is how many byte instruction? 2 byte instruction. Like that, there are 1 byte instructions. which take only 1 byte. For example, if the instruction is move R1, R2, like that. Okay, so these such instructions take only 1 byte. They are called as 1 byte instructions. The opcode for move R1, R2, say it is F8, right? It takes only F8 value to be opcode to be stored in one memory location. F8 is stored in only one memory location. So we are not using two memory locations here. If it is one memory location, it is 1 byte. If there are two memory locations we are using to store that instruction, it is called as 2 byte. Clear here? So as we are using 1 byte instruction, that means there are 139 1 byte instructions. For such 2 byte instructions, there are 92 in microcontroller 8051 and 3 byte instructions. If 3 bytes are used for storing the instruction, then it is called as 3 byte instruction. There are 24 3 byte instructions. For example, if we consider CJNE instruction, right? CJNE instruction or LCall instruction, long call. Okay, so such instructions have 3 bytes. They require 3 bytes to be stored into the memory locations. Okay. Instruction syntax. This is the normal format of writing any instruction. The normal format of writing any instruction. First we write its label, then mnemonic, operand 1, operand 2, semicolon, comment. So it is a format here: label, colon, mnemonic, operand 1, operand 2, semicolon, comment. Label is what name we are giving for that particular instruction. That is called as a label. For example, here I have written one instruction: loop colon increment R1, loop colon increment R1. So loop is the label of increment R1 instruction. Loop is the label of increment R1 instruction. Okay, there is a name given to that instruction, right? The value assigned to this loop is the first memory location of that particular instruction. So if this instruction increment R1 has the memory location 0000H memory location, then this loop will be assigned with the value 0000H memory location. Okay, a label is one that assigns the address of the first byte of the instruction in which it appears. Then what is mnemonic? This INC, increment. INC, this mnemonic, it is called as the mnemonic. Mnemonics are used because it is an assembly level language. If it is high level language, we use instructions which are understandable to the user or the programmer. But as it is assembly level language, this 8051 microcontroller is assembly level language that we are using here. So hence we are using what are called as mnemonics. For addition, we use ADD. For division, DIV. For multiplication, MUL. Okay, so such wordings, they are called as mnemonics. Okay, so this INC is a mnemonic which indicates the operation to be performed on the specific operands or on the specific data. INC means here increment the value stored in R1 register. If in R1 register value stored is say 04H, then when this instruction is executed, INC R1 04 plus 1, it will add 1 to the already stored value in R1. So the value in R1 will be 05H. 04 plus 1, 05H will be stored in R1 register. Next, operand. Operand is the data on which the operation is performed. Here, R1 is the data or the register on which the operation is performed. So this becomes the operand. Some instructions have got two operands. For example, move instruction, move A, hash 25H. A is operand 1, 25H is operand 2. MOV is the mnemonic. A is operand 1, 25H is operand 2. There are two operands in move instruction. Okay. And if there are two operands, they are separated by a comma. Then after operand 2, semicolon, comment. We are using the comment which describes the operations performed by the instructions. The comment will describe what operation is performed by the instruction. Here increment R1, so it says increment the counter or increment the value in R1 register. Okay, so it explains whatever operation is performed by that particular mnemonic or whatever operation is performed by that particular instruction. Okay. Next is addressing modes. Okay, so I'll just define the addressing mode and then we'll continue in the next class. Addressing mode is the way in which we are storing the data into the registers and the memory locations. How we are storing the data into the registers and the memory location. So that particular way of storing the data is called as addressing mode. The particular way of storing the data is called as the addressing mode. Right. Now, the ways by which these addresses for storing data are specified are called as addressing modes. There are 8 addressing modes in 8051 microcontroller. Immediate addressing mode, register, direct, indirect, relative, absolute, indexed, and long addressing mode. Immediate addressing mode, register, direct, indirect, relative, indexed, absolute, and long addressing modes. These are the 8 different addressing modes of 8051 microcontroller. Clear here, students? I hope everybody understood the today's topics. So we started with the examples, right? Then after the examples, which was the next topic? Next topic after the examples? First topic after the examples? Yes?
Criteria
the-
for selecting microcontroller. Criteria for
What was
selecting
it?
the microcontroller.
Criteria for choosing the 8051 microcontroller. Criteria for choosing any microcontroller IC. Correct. Next, after that? Next topic after that? What we studied later?
Addressing mode and
Yes?
instruction set.
Yes, addressing mode and instruction
Instruction
set.
set.
Okay. So in addressing mode, I explained the format of writing any instruction. So this is a general format of writing any instruction, any assembly language instruction. It is label, colon, mnemonic, operand 1, operand 2, semicolon, and comment. Before writing the comment, we have to use the semicolon. Okay. So this is how we are writing any instruction. Then I defined what is addressing mode. That is the way in which the values are stored in memory location and registers. It is called as addressing mode. There are 8 addressing modes: immediate, register, direct, indirect, relative, indexed, absolute, and long addressing mode. Okay. We'll discuss about these addressing modes in the next class. Right. Any questions here, students? Any questions? Any questions here in today's class? What all topics we dealt in today's class? On that, any questions? Yes? Understood the today's topics? Everyone understood today's topics? Yes? Okay. Any questions then? Any questions? If you have any questions, ask. So no questions here? No questions then. So in the next class, I'll be discussing about these addressing modes in detail. Right? We'll take up one after the another, and then we'll move on with the instructions. Right? Thank you.